Okay, so welcome everyone to the weekly coaching call with Omar Pinto and Tori. And today we're just going to dive right in and start with Tori and just check in with Tori, see how she's doing and see how we can help her. So Tori,
Yes.
tell me, please, how can I help?
Okay. So I shared about this morning in a meeting. I am a control freak, and it it peaks into every area of my life, but especially work.
Mm-hmm.
So like I have a lot of trouble letting go of responsibility and giving it to somebody else.
Mm.
And so, like this morning, it's something that I usually do in my daily job duties and responsibilities. I had to, my plate is getting too full, right? So I had to hand it off to someone else. And that someone else was not doing it correctly or the way that like I would have liked it to be done. So I got really upset and was like, well, I would just rather do it. And then my coworker was like, no, you cannot do it. You have too much else to do. So I got really pissed off. And so that's just like kind of, and it just like kind of set my tone for the day. And I think that I do place like so much pride into my work, and also and something that I've been challenging, pride into my work, but also self-worth into my work. And the control piece is something that like I just it just I hate it, and it takes over everything. And so yeah, I guess my question is how to let go a little more.
Okay, how to be less, finish the statement.
Controlling.
Okay, couldn't even
Yeah.
say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do I be less? Yeah. All right. So it's like that example of that they use in recovery. Okay, when they describe letting something go,
Mhm.
and it's like if it was a ball, right? It would have claw marks. Okay, whatever it is that I'm trying to let go of, it's like whatever I let go of, eventually it will have a lot of claw marks on it because I'm trying to hold on.
Uh-huh.
All right. So let's start with this. I am afraid of.
Mm. I am afraid of not being perfect. I mean, that's the first thing that came into my mind.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, okay. And why is it so important to be perfect?
Um, because I, why is it important to be perfect? Because then then someone will see my flaws.
Okay. Because then others will see my flaws.
And if I'm not perfect, then that says that and I'm going to be real black and white here, but that says that I'm a failure or
Mm-hmm.
a, I'm not good at what I do.
Okay. So this is usually the underlying feeling when it comes to perfectionism, is this idea that what my biggest fear is to fail, to be a failure.
Mm-hmm.
So this idea of failing,
Mm-hmm.
Whose standards are you following?
My own.
Okay, so you've
Uh,
created
yes.
your own standards.
My own unrealistic expectations of myself.
Okay, all right. So this is interesting. So you've created your own standards.
Mm-hmm.
So I have created my own standards. And what else?
And unrealistic expectations.
And expectations.
Yeah.
Okay. Why did you make them unrealistic?
Um, because I like to set my goals high, and but I don't think I knew that they were unrealistic.
Well, you used the word unrealistic.
Yes, because I'm always striving for perfection, and I know that I will never get it. So obviously, so those are unrealistic.
Okay. All right. What do we know about perfection?
That it's not possible.
Mm. Okay, so I want you to just sit with that for a moment. Okay, what do we know about perfection? It's not possible. Would it be safe to assume that the reason why you said when I asked you whose standards are these? Well, they're my own.
Mm-hmm.
I've created these standards and these unrealistic expectations. Would be safe to assume that these unrealistic expectations comes from the realization that perfection is not possible.
Yes.
Okay. So if you create unrealistic expectations and you are attempting to be perfect, then what is it that you are doing right off the bat?
I'm creating unrealistic expectations. I'm creating failure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I am creating opportunities to fail.
Yes.
Okay, so great. I need to understand. We need to understand, Tori. For what reason are you creating opportunities to fail?
Oh, and this is another like pattern repeating itself in my life, and it's the self-sabotage. And why? Because I don't like when everything gets too hard, I want someone else to take care of it all, and I don't want to take responsibility.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. Wow, I hope everybody's listening. When things get too hard, finish that.
When things get too hard, I don't want to be responsible for anything.
I don't want to be responsible
And
for anything. Keep going.
this is like a pattern that you're like, I'm 4 years sober now, but when things got too hard, well, let me go back to treatment, because there's a bed that waiting for me and food, and I don't even have to think about anything. Or and that's just like an extreme case, but yeah.
Man, this is so good. Everyone, But really pay attention to this. Really pay attention to this, because Tori is right on the cusp of a huge breakthrough. So imagine control freak. Like, the idea of having control is so you can set the tone, you can set the benchmarks, you can set the structure, the schedule, the tasks, the everything. Like, that's why I want control. I want control so that I can set the pace. But here, I'm creating opportunities to fail. Why? To self-sabotage. Why? When things get too hard, I don't want to be responsible for anything. I want someone to come in and fix it.
Mm-hmm.
What is this role that you are trapped in?
Self-sabotage.
Yes. What is the role?
What is my role?
Yup. You are playing a role right now. I am the what?
I'm the victim of myself.
I'm the victim, period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I am the victim. What does a victim need?
Attention. I don't know.
Yeah, no. What? Okay, so in the role, imagine that we're on a play, that we're, on the stage, and everyone has a role. Okay, if there's a victim, okay, it would be obvious that what else is needed in this play?
A instigator, right?
Okay, an instigator. Great. An instigator.
A victim,
Uh-huh.
and a someone to like solve everything.
A hero.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, here, yeah.
A hero. A rescuer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so everyone that's listening right now, this is textbook drama triangle. Okay, we have an instigator or an antagonist or persecutor, however you want to identify, hero, rescuer, savior, okay, and the victim.
Yeah.
So if I am the victim, then what I need to fulfill my role is someone to rescue me.
Correct.
The only way someone will come and rescue me is if I'm controlling the narrative. I am trying to control the narrative, so whenever I need to, I can blow things up and wait for someone to come in and save me.
Yes. Yeah.
So, how does this allow you to change?
Well, now I have a clear definition of this cycle that I get myself into. And so I can see, right, when I'm in it, that, I don't want to give up control. Well, obviously, this is just part of my, I don't want to say scheming, right? But
It's not scheming, okay? It is a mindset, and along with a mindset comes behavior.
mm-hmm.
So if I am a hero,
Right,
then I'm looking for people to save. If
right,
I'm a victim, I'm looking to get fucked. Okay?
right.
Okay. If I'm an instigator or persecutor, I'm looking to start shit.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And so in your particular case, because of your upbringing, because of your childhood,
Mhm.
the abandonment, the hurt, the abuse, it's logical. It makes all the sense in the world that what you would want the most is to be saved.
Mm,
It's for someone to rescue you.
mm. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is super important because what we want everyone to recognize here as you're listening is that in this type of a situation, everything is going to self-sabotage in order for me to stay in that victim role. I'm going to pick a douchebag to date, okay, so that eventually that relationship will go sideways and someone will have to come save me.
Right.
I am going to take on a job that I'm not qualified for, that I can't do, or that is time consuming to the point where I am doomed to fail, so that someone will come offer help and come save me. I will continue to put myself in unhealthy situations
Yep.
in order to control the narrative, self-sabotage, wait for somebody to come save me. And there's two things that happen there. One is I either prove that I am unworthy of love and attention and acknowledgement, or I prove that there is always someone there to save me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, it absolutely makes sense. Yeah.
How do you extract yourself from the victim role?
Um, I don't know.
Well, I can think of the easiest first answer.
Okay.
No, you guess. What am I thinking right now? What would be the easiest first step just based on our conversation today?
I mean, don't, if I like give my responsibility to someone else or,
What is that an example of?
um, letting go
Of?
of the victim.
Nope. Come on. Come on. I love it. I love it when people get stuck. It's so obvious. We started this whole conversation and now I can't even remember what it is that I need to let go of.
Of control.
Oh my God. The first thing you must do is take action and relinquish control.
I know, and it's so uncomfortable and it's so hard.
Yes. So now I have to get comfortable with what?
With not being in control.
With being uncomfortable.
Right.
Okay. So step one, let me write this down. Step one, comfortable with being uncomfortable. Okay. Step two, relinquish control. Okay. Step three, lower your expectations.
Right.
Move from unrealistic expectation to realistic expectations. This is basically 101 on how to begin, because it's not that I'm trying to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm trying to do is set myself up for failure so that someone will come and save me.
Right. Right.
Okay. So once we have that clarity of what is actually happening here, right?
Mhm.
Then you can make a choice every single day to go, oh my God, whew, I slipped right back into that role again. I've
Right.
slipped back into the victim role. Jen, dang it, I missed it all. Had something. Yeah, no, it's all recorded. Don't worry. All right. And it is good, Jen. You missed some good stuff here. All right. So other than that, first, this step 1, 2, 3, is there anything else right now that you can say, oh man, immediately what comes to mind is I'm going to.
What do you mean?
Like in your life, the things you are currently controlling, trying to be perfect, okay, have ridiculously high standards and unrealistic expectations. Like, what can you immediately say? Aha! The first thing I'm going to do is.
Well, I mean, my relationships, my, I mean, I see how I'm going to relinquish control at work, at my job,
Very good.
because I think that's one of the biggest pieces. And yeah, it is. Just, yeah.
Okay. When I don't give someone an opportunity to fail, what else don't I give them an opportunity to do?
Grow.
Okay, so your kid falls down trying to walk. Okay, that's it for you. Okay, walking, that's not for you. Okay. Right, obviously, you can't do it. Take 1, 2 steps, you fall. All right. I guess I'm just going to have to walk for you the rest of my life.
If it were only that easy, you know?
Right. No. Hey, buddy. This didn't. Hey, listen, great first run. Okay. Normally, this is how I like to do it. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Here's the email. Blah, 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 blah. It gives you an opportunity to be of service, to teach, to guide, to mold, to help.
Yeah. And that's what I need to remember when I get frustrated.
Yes.
And
That.
throw my computer out the window and say, let me just do it myself.
And just recognize that every time you do that, every time you relinquish control, you are trying to control a narrative where you ultimately fail and someone can come and save you.
Yeah.
Anything else, Tori?
I don't think so.
I think that was good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well done. Okay, everybody. Virtual applause. I know I can't see you. Jen, thank you for that. All right. Wonderful. Okay. So who is next? We've got a whole half an hour and we are on fire here. Who would like to go next? You don't even have to turn on your camera. I saw a hand go up. Whose hand was that?
I was clapping.
Oh, okay.
I'm not volunteering.
Okay, I got you. I was like, oh, I saw a hand. No, I'm clapping. Okay, good. All right. And you don't even have to turn on your camera. Is there anyone who needs some coaching, some help, some advice, some suggestions, some guidance?
I'm Katie.
Hi, Katie.
How are you?
Wonderful. How about yourself?
I'm good, thanks.
How can I help?
I am 20 days sober, 21 days, something like that. And it's not my first rodeo. I've been through this many, many times. I've had long-term sobriety and drank again, and I'm older.
It's okay. It's okay. No judgment here.
Yeah, right. Everybody getting sober is so young now, which is awesome. But I quit drinking for Lent.
Okay.
I made the decision a couple weeks before Lent, and I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I've been drinking for roughly 8, 9 months. but I'm afraid and setting myself, I am afraid that I am self-sabotaging because I am thinking now I'm halfway through Lent and I'm afraid that when I get to the end of this 40 days, I'm going to say, that's okay. I did 40 days. Yeah, because I'm setting myself up for the end of Lent at 40
Mm-hmm.
days. It's going to be okay to drink, but it's not.
Okay. So
And I'm
go
just
ahead.
wondering how I can keep myself from drinking at 41 days on Easter Sunday.
Okay. So let's start with a couple of basics. So I guess my first question would be, for what reason do you want to stop drinking?
Mainly for my health.
Okay. And what's going on with your health?
I do have some autoimmune issues. I have rheumatoid arthritis, and I am real, have high blood pressure. I smoke, and I'm too old for this. And I really am afraid that if I keep on drinking, I'm going to start doing bodily harm to myself.
Well, you are currently doing bodily harm to yourself at the moment. Smoking, drinking, high blood pressure, arthritis. So there's a lot of strain on your body, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So ultimately, there is something here much, much, much deeper that started much, much, much longer ago
Mm.
that has ended up here. So it's not so much where we're at is not how we got here. So there is something that, let me try this next question. What are you trying not to feel?
Oh gosh. Um, a lot probably. My mother just died in August, and we all drank. I come from a very large Irish Catholic family,
There you go. There's
and
one thing.
yeah, and everybody drinks.
Mhm.
I am the middle child of 9 kids, and I'm your textbook middle child.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so there is a lot, and there's some issues with my grandchildren right now that are worrying me to death. And mm, my family is a huge issue. I enjoy drinking with my family.
Mhm. 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 Uh, so you come from a drinking family.
Yes,
Okay. All right. How old were you when you first started drinking?
I drank my first 3 beers at age 12.
Okay. All right. And how did they make you feel?
Mm, oh, it was very exciting and
Mm.
adventurous. We snuck out of the house and we went in the woods and we drank beer and yeah,
So it was exciting, adventurous, and fun.
yep.
And when was the next time you drank?
I have no idea. I would say by 16, I was trying to get a drink anywhere I could get it.
Okay. So would you say that you were drinking alcoholically by age 16?
Yes, I would.
Okay. So right in here is some unresolved something. There is unresolved negative thoughts, feelings, emotions. So here's the good news. Your memory is still golden. 12 years old, 3 beers, in the woods, adventurous, exciting. I mean, boom. I'm wrong. I'm still there.
Yeah.
Okay. By 16, I'm
Yeah.
already looking for wherever I can get a drink. I'm very clear on this whole beginning of my drinking career. So at 12, was there anything that had happened to you up until that point? Some sort of trauma, some sort of wounding, some sort of abuse that happened prior to year 12?
No. No.
What about between 12 and 16?
Nothing specific other than I wasn't real careful with myself in those years.
In what way?
Oh, I was very promiscuous.
Mm.
I was such a brat. I was such a brat. I was a horrible, horrid teenager.
Okay. And so you were promiscuous before 16.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And you describe it as being a horrible teenager.
Yes.
So now I realize that for obvious, just based on what you're describing here, you would feel as though the behavior makes you horrible.
Yeah, I'm not very proud of myself even today. I am 60 years old.
Okay. So,
Yeah, I can still think back to that time and just cringe.
okay. All right. So let's try and separate ourselves from the behavior. This is an attempt to bring some relief into the equation. What we really need here is love, kindness, gentle. We need to bring that into the equation because at an early age, you are confusing who you are with your behavior. You are
Mm-hmm.
not your behavior. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not that I'm a horrible teenager. How about I was very curious as a teenager?
That's one way to put it.
Well, what's the difference between being curious and experimenting and being adventurous and being this horrible teenager?
I can look back at myself because looking back at that person is like looking at a different person than who I am. It's almost like looking at somebody else.
Ah.
And
Mhm.
I see that person as trying to get attention any way I could.
Mm.
And what better way to get attention than start drinking and smoking pot with everybody and having sex?
Okay. All right. So, am I detecting a little shame here?
Oh yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Would it be safe to assume that if you were feeling shame then, that it only got worse over the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years?
Mm, probably because the older I get, probably the worse it looks. I've got grandchildren.
Mm-hmm. So here's what we have to do. First of all, I want you to imagine. So, do you have any teenage grandkids?
No, they're 5 and 6 and 4.
Okay. So I want you to imagine, are any of them young girls?
No, both
Only boys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I had two daughters.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. And how old are they now?
My oldest is 31 and my youngest is 29.
Okay. All right. And do they have drug and alcohol problems?
By the grace of God and some miracle, no.
Interesting. They don't. Are they both married?
Yes. No, I'm sorry. My daughter just got a divorce.
Okay. One married, one divorced.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. All right. Now, would you consider them to be healthy, emotionally strong women? One of them, both of them, none of them?
They're very emotionally strong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're strong women. They're good girls, but they both take antidepressants. They both take anti-anxiety medicine, and one sees a therapist and one needs to see a therapist.
Okay. All right. Okay. So now I want you to imagine for a moment that you were able to go back in time. And let's just imagine that one of your daughters is running around, drinking, smoking pot, sleeping around. Okay. And she comes to you and she's saying, Mom, I got to talk to you about something here. I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm feeling a tremendous amount of shame for
Mm-hmm.
drinking and smoking pot and sleeping around. And I'm having a tough time dealing with all this feelings that I'm a horrible person and this shame that I'm carrying around. What would you tell her?
I would probably tell her that she's not a horrible person, that she's a wonderful person, and that it's not her fault. To a degree. I mean, I don't know. I didn't word that very well.
No, you worded it perfectly up until the end. Okay.
Yeah, I would probably blame it on circumstances for her because we did kind of go down that road.
Okay.
With my youngest daughter, things did I was in rehab and came out of rehab and she was drinking. And so we kind of have been there.
Okay. And how did you two get through it?
She stopped drinking.
And how long has she not been drinking?
Oh, but she drinks occasionally now. She'll have a couple beers on the weekend.
She doesn't drink alcoholically.
No, amazingly so.
Okay. All right. So let's kind of peel this back a little further and let's look at the middle child of 9.
Yep.
And for what reason were you trying to get all this attention?
I always felt, I've really done a lot of thinking these past couple of days. I have always felt that I was on the outside looking in at my family. And as I got older, it got worse.
Can you expand on that a little bit? This whole on the outside looking in?
They all told me that when I was a little girl that I was really cute and that they just thought I was so cute. And then they said I turned into a brat.
Mm.
And they, I have 4 older brothers and sisters. I have 4 younger brothers and sisters. The older brothers and sisters didn't want me hanging around, and neither did the little ones.
So
I just,
no one wanted you hanging around.
yeah.
So you developed, go ahead.
I did feel like it didn't matter if I was there or not.
Mm. So is it fair to assume that you felt insignificant?
Yes.
When was the last time you felt really seen, really significant?
Mm, I don't know. My kids and I have a very good relationship, and they have respect for me, and they make me feel significant. And I am close to all my brothers and sisters today.
And so when you are with them currently, what is the
Mhm.
general feeling that you have when you are around them?
If I'm drinking, it's all good because everybody else is drinking.
Okay. If
And when
I'm drinking, go ahead.
And if I'm sober, then I feel like I'm sitting on the outside of that circle again.
Okay. Are you following where I'm taking you, Katie?
Yeah, I think so.
There's 0 benefits to being sober.
Okay.
Tell me where the benefit is in being sober.
I like being sober.
Okay.
I'm better at work. I sleep better. I feel better, and I don't feel so stinking worthless.
Okay. So we have conflict here. I sleep better, work better, feel better. So why would you go back to drinking?
I don't want to. I really don't.
Yeah, but do you see where there is, if this is in a courtroom, Katie, if we're in a
Right.
courtroom, I've got you on the stand. Okay, you've got conflicting testimony.
Okay.
Right? Like I'm already back and
Right.
forth, like conflicting testimony, which is like, well, it looks obvious to me that when I am sober and I'm around my family, I am back to being on the outside looking in. So at 60 years old, the trauma from your childhood is still right here, right now. It is present in this moment. And the only way to soothe yourself from that wound, that childhood wound, is through alcohol, because it serves 2 purposes. It numbs out this feelings that I'm not enough and that nobody wants me, and then I'm on the outside looking in, and it also connects me to my family.
Yeah, I can't dispute that.
And what it sounds like is, in the realm of priorities, in the realms of highest intention and what's most important to you, is being included in your family.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even though I like being sober and I sleep better and I work better and I feel better, it disconnects me from my family.
Yes. That is a very fair statement. Very.
So this is why I asked the question, like, why do you, if someone's struggling being sober and they're facing tons of consequences left and right, it's a silly question to ask. Yeah, so why do you want to stop drinking? But ultimately, the only reason why most people want to stop drinking is because the consequences are now outweighing the benefits.
Yeah.
And until we understand what we're drinking about, then I can go 1 month, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years without drinking. But if I have not resolved the core wound, and in your particular core wound, it's this feeling that I am on the outside looking in. Like that's what sobriety represents to you, is being in my family on the outside, looking in and not feeling a part of.
Right.
And so
That's true.
ultimately, what does that mean? Because I develop a story. That must mean that what?
I don't know, that I feel unwanted and not needed, and why even be there?
How does that feel as you say that?
Sad.
Yeah. Sadness.
Yeah, very sad.
Unwanted, unneeded. This is why you drink, Katie. This is what needs to heal. This is what needs
I've never, in all the therapy that I've ever done, which is a lot, I've been to 2 outpatients, 1 inpatient. I don't think I've ever dealt or talked about my family. It's always been my ex-husband or my kids, or I have touched on my teenage years because it was a traumatic time, but didn't really talk about my family.
Family is the most important thing that we have in our lives. It connects us to our truth, to our lineage, to where we came from.
Right.
And if everyone else is connected and I am not connected, then ultimately it makes me believe that there is something wrong with me. Why would I be excluded? Why would I be unwanted or unneeded? What is wrong with me? What did I do? And ultimately that becomes way too painful. It's a heavy burden. It's sad. It's uncomfortable. And there's no question about it. I will want to soothe and numb and escape from those feelings. And more importantly, here it is. If I'm drinking, it's all good.
Right. It takes care of everything.
So here is, this is where the work is, Katie. This is where the work is. You have a very big family. And you are also very much connected to that family. There is a visceral connection to your family. Okay. Not only is there a connection, there is a longing for connection. You want to be a part of the family. You want to be connected. You want to be included and wanted and needed. Just think about as I'm saying these things and not receiving those.
Right.
And then you go out as this child, as this teenager, seeking approval and love and connection wherever you can find it. And instead of looking at yourself with love and compassion and tenderness, you look at yourself with negativity and blame.
Yes, I do.
The work here is to change all the language around Katie.
Mm-hmm.
I was not a bad teenager. I was a young woman seeking attention and love and to feel wanted and needed.
I've never looked at it that way.
I know.
Never.
I know.
Never.
It's time, Katie. It's time.
Yeah.
It's time to talk to yourself like you would talk to your daughter.
Right.
That's why I asked you, what would you tell your daughter? And what did you say?
Right.
In a nanosecond? You're a wonderful person, sweetheart. It's not your fault. Like you instinctively know what to do and what to say as a mother.
Yeah.
It's time to reparent yourself, Katie. It's time to reparent. It's time to change all the language. That's it.
Okay.
The story, as soon as I change the language, I change the story. As soon as I change the story, the emotions all change. Are you noticing that right now all your emotions are very different?
Yes. Yeah. I actually feel kind of calm.
Yeah. We took all the rough edges off. We took the rough edges off, right? So what we're doing is we're softening. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're tapping into the feminine because what we need here is a lot of feminine energy. So we need divine feminine energy here. The divine feminine is gentle and kind and warm, caring, nurturing.
Yeah.
That's what's needed. That's what you. Okay, we've been in a man's world for too long, Katie. The men have fucked up this whole planet, used it like their own stomping ground. Okay.
Yeah.
And it is time for the female energy to make a strong presence in the world. It's very necessary to bring the female energy back because that female energy is peaceful. It's soft. It's how you're feeling right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I do consider myself a feminist.
Tap into, remove the feminist and tap into the feminine. The feminist has a negative connotation. And the feminist movement, I think, was tagged by men. So divine feminine is what we want to go into. The loving, the inherent, right there. When I asked you about your daughter, your mother instinct inherently answered without skipping a beat.
Right.
And so when you're with your family and you are not drinking and you feel like you're on the outside looking in, you need to remind yourself in that moment, it's okay. It's not your fault.
Right.
It is not your fault. You're a wonderful person.
Okay.
And if they want to drink, they can drink. I'm pretty sure that the only reason why it's okay when you drink with them is because you're not consciously judging yourself and judging them.
Oh, that is so fair. That is so fair.
Katie, you're ready. You're ready. Listen, let me put it to you this way. You're 60 years old. You don't have one more day, not one more day to hold on to this. You can choose right now to let this go. All this, the negative thinking, the negative thoughts, the negative memories, how you viewed you can change everything today. Because I know that everything I said to you right now, it registered.
Very much so. Yeah.
It registered and it felt true. Make this your truth, Katie.
Mhm.
Tap into your divine feminine. Tap into your instinctive motherly instincts. And be gentle, loving, and kind with yourself in this process.
Right.
You're not giving up alcohol for Lent. You're giving up alcohol for yourself.
Right. Right. Would you say the best tool to use in this process would be journaling?
No doubt about it. And I would do my very best to start with I forgive myself because. I love myself because.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
connect yourself with very strong women. Do not be alone, Katie. Connect.
Yeah.
I don't know if are you in the SRC?
What is the SRC?
Okay, so you're in the sobriety engine?
Yes.
Are you going to those meetings?
Not like I should.
Let's not use the word
No.
should, as you know, let's just say not
Mhm.
as much as you could be.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's two communities. There's Sobriety Engine, there's my community, which is the SRC. And in that, Tori, can you send Katie just the link to the page? In there, I don't know how it happened, but almost every meeting is held and chaired by very strong women.
Okay.
The majority of the attendees on the calls are women. So I invite you to take a look at the SRC, right? And consider joining
Okay.
and make a couple of those meetings.
Okay.
If you give yourself a chance and give it a chance, what you'll find in there is the support that you need.
Right. I do have an AA sponsor.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And are you working the steps currently?
No. No. I am going to spend 2 hours with her tomorrow.
I've been in recovery for going on 18 years. I
Mhm.
spent the first 4 years of recovery working the steps in the NA step working guide. I dedicated 4 years of my life to integrating it, owning it. There isn't a facet of that 12-step working guide even now that I wouldn't be able to discuss with someone.
Mhm.
Okay. It's part of who I am. I am not involved in 12 steps as much as I used to be, actually, at all. If I want to be honest. Okay. But that's 18 years ago. And the first 10
Right.
years, I was dedicated to 12 steps. It saved my life, Katie.
Mhm.
Okay. And those 12 steps, those first 4 years were the most cathartic, the most liberating, the most healing that I've ever experienced
Mhm.
in my life. I was in a lot of pain when I came in, a lot
Right.
of pain. That's why I drank and that's why I used, because I was in a
Mhm.
tremendous amount of pain. We
I
all are.
understand. Mhm.
Lean into your sponsor. I would highly recommend you work those steps, okay, as your
Okay.
first step to liberating yourself, freeing yourself from the bondage of self,
Right.
and really also connecting with as many strong women as you can.
Okay.
Any questions?
I do know a lot of those. Yeah.
Any
No,
questions?
thank you. No, thank you very much.
It is my
Okay.
honor and my pleasure, Katie.
Thanks.
I'm so glad
I've
you
been
jumped in.
listening. I've been listening to you on the Share podcast.
Okay. So you've already heard some of the coaching calls.
Yes, I have.
You knew what was
Yeah.
coming. Brave woman. Well done.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay. We've reached the top of the hour, but is there anyone that would like to say anything before we close? Very, very powerful session.
I just want to say thanks, Katie, for stepping up. That's really takes a lot of courage, and it's hard to be vulnerable like that when you don't even know what you're walking into. So I just encourage you to come back and great job.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Anybody else?
This is Kathy. I just like to say thank you, Tori and Katie, for sharing. I can really relate with Katie's the wounded child within. And it was really helpful, Omar, about, how to change the language and how I talk to myself about my behavior. I was also very promiscuous in my 20s, even my 30s. So, yeah, I'm going to do a lot of thinking about that. Thank you.
Oh, that's fantastic, Kathy.
Yes, Katie, thank you for sharing with us today. At least I got to catch you. Tori, I'm going to go catch the replay so I can hear yours. One of these Wednesdays, I will catch a whole session and not have to attempt to go back and catch it. And Omar, thank you so much for the calls all the time and helping guide everybody through it.
Oh, thank you, Jen. I am so grateful for this gift. It took me a good 45 years to really recognize it, but once I did, there's no stopping me now. I got a good 45 years ahead of me that I'll be doing this. All right. I think that's it. I don't think we've got anyone else in there. Just a lot of love to everyone. Round of applause for Katie and for Tori and for everyone who chimed in. So much love to you all. We will see you next Wednesday.